Hi there, folks. Well, we're heading into the roaring 20s. Last week I spoke about setting intentions for the year ahead. I'd like to just add some meat around the bones, make it a little bit more practical if you are working with intentions. For me, it is about having an idea of what I intend to do for the year ahead. And as I look at what I intend to do or become, the big questions I have, there's whys. Why would I want to do this, as I mentioned last week? Now, practically, there are two main whys that I work with. The first why, how can this intention, whatever I set up, be of service to me first and foremost? It sounds very selfish, but it really is important to understand what's in it for me. And as I'm working with that, there's the second why, which works alongside this. What is this intention? How can this be of service to those around me, to be of service in this world? So let me give you a really practical example. One of my intentions is to learn and grow for the year ahead. Now, I suppose I've had this in just about every year for the last few years, and it'll never stop. But learning and growing, for me, it's about, first of all, learning and growing about myself, learning more about myself. So, why would that be? How could that be of service to me? Well, as I learn more about myself, I develop a greater relationship with myself. I understand myself way more. I'm more forgiving to myself. I develop a healthier state of well-being in the concept of my adequacies or inadequacies. I'm working with those, breaking through the next layer of the onion skin. There's always more to learn. And yes, the other area that I would like to learn is not just about myself, it's also about technology, especially with this online. There's so much happening out there. And I would like to learn more about that and how could that be of service to me? Well, it helps me express myself better. It helps me have a lot more fun working with the technology that is out there in terms of getting to the people that would like to hear what I have to say. So that is the first why. What's in it for me? Now, the second why behind the intent, this learning and growing, to become, to learn more about myself and to grow, well, it is the why of how can this impact on the world around me. As I learn more about myself, that does have an impact on those around me, and that's a very important why for me. In my capacity as a father, as a son, as a friend, in my capacity as a facilitator in the courses and sharing this wonderful knowledge, it really improves on that, and for me, I do hope that it will add to the quality of my beingness that impacts in this world, to become a better person and to make a better difference to this world. I find these whys are very empowering, and this is the energy for I would suggest anyone working with intentions is to go and look at this why and feel it. Feel that energy that it brings to the surface. Now, what I also do as I work with intentions is I have a little bit of a plan. For me, learning and growing the year ahead, it does encompass me reading some books. I'd like to read at least 6 books. That's my goal for the year. I don't go for the one book every day or one book every 2 weeks because I like to savor it. It's not just reading books for me. I've got some online courses that I'm looking at for the year ahead, 1 or 2 small courses, about 6 weeks long. Particularly one is in the technological environment. The other one is more of a spiritual online course that I'm looking at working with. So I develop a plan around this. I would like to revisit the Enneagram for myself, just take stock of where I am now, understand a little bit more about my personality type. Normally whenever I go back to it, I read so much more into it. So this is what I'm trying to give is an idea of how you can practically work with it. Now, what happens is as you set yourself up for more, I did mention before that you better duck because you start getting tests. Well, for me, the one most important thing is that working with intentions is not setting expectations, because as you do this, you don't want to do this with the intention of saying, well, now I expect something to come back to me. This is about giving. And in order for us to receive without expectation, we have to give first. And this is what I feel is so important about intention. It is the giving first, this making the sacrifices. And it's mostly egotistical sacrifices for me to learn and grow. Maybe I have to listen more. Maybe I have to actually sit and stop always pushing my point of view across, which I can do sometimes, and listen to other people's point of views. And the challenges will come fast and furious. The environment will challenge once you're moving from one area of your existence to another, from one level to another. There are going to be those barriers, those fear barriers to break through. And with those fear barriers come the challenges. So it is about And I think for me, the biggest sacrifice is the courage, is the vulnerability, it's the honesty to oneself, it's the accountability, the ego sacrifices that we make as we move and become more, as we move forward and we become more. So it is to be prepared for this. It is a very exciting journey, folks. And yes, these are just some practical insights. And I wish you all the best with your intentions as you work with them. In the last week, we've seen some incredible intentions happening at a global level, where we're talking about the Australian bushfires, where I belong to many groups online, and I've noticed it doesn't matter what religion people are in, whether you're Muslim, Buddhist, Christian, even the folk. I work with a group called the Ho'oponopono group, the Kabbalistic groups. They are all coming together with meditations, prayers for Australia. And who knows, we've already seen over the last few days there's been some rain falling when it wasn't expected. Whether that's coincidence or not, I don't know. I like to live in a world of magic. Magic is, after all, undiscovered science. So maybe it does make that difference as we set intentions, even at a global level. Maybe it really does make that difference to the reality around us. So yes, we'll talk more about attention, which is tied into intention at a later stage. But for now, play around with your intentions, folks. See what comes up for you. And until we chat again, take care and stay aware.